Stella stood at the edge of the skating rink, her breath misting the cold air. She was just a girl in a small town, but her heart beat with a passion that made her feel like she was destined for something bigger. The ice shimmered beneath the bright lights, and Stella's eyes sparkled with determination. All she had ever wanted was to become a professional skater. From the moment she first laced up her skates at the age of 5, Stella knew this was her calling. She could still remember the way the cool blades felt against the ice, the way she glided effortlessly across the surface. Her parents were supportive but often worried. Skating was an expensive sport, and Stella knew they couldn't afford the top-tier lessons or fancy equipment that some of the other kids had. But Stella didn't mind. Her dream was clear. She would skate her way to greatness, no matter the obstacles. Every morning, she would wake up early to practice in the local rink. The sound of her skates carving into the ice was like music to her ears, and as she perfected each jump and spin, she felt a sense of accomplishment. But it wasn't easy. Stella often fell, her knees scraping the ice, and sometimes she doubted herself. There were days when she wanted to give up and walk away, but the thought of not chasing her dream was unbearable. One afternoon, after a particularly challenging practice, Stella sat on the rink's edge, feeling discouraged. She had been trying to master a difficult spin for weeks, but no matter how hard she tried, it wasn't coming together. She wiped the sweat from her brow, watching other skaters glide past her with ease. Some of them were much older, and their movements were smooth and fluid, while Stella's were still a bit rough around the edges. "Why can't I be as good as them?" she thought, biting her lip in frustration. Just then, Stella heard a voice behind her. "You'll get it, Stella." She turned to see her coach, Mrs. Collins, walking towards her with a warm smile. Mrs. Collins was a former professional skater who had been teaching at the rink for years. Her silver hair and kind eyes made her seem like a mentor to all the kids who trained under her. "I know it's tough, but you have to remember something," Mrs. Collins continued. "Skating isn't just about the tricks or the jumps. It's about believing in yourself. You have the heart of a skater, Stella. That's more important than any move." Stella looked up at her coach, feeling a surge of hope. "But what if I'm just not good enough?" Mrs. Collins knelt down beside her, looking her in the eyes. "Let me tell you something. When I was your age, I struggled just like you. There were days when I fell more than I skated, and people told me I'd never make it. But I kept going because I knew in my heart that skating was my dream. You'll have setbacks, but you can't let them stop you. You've got the talent, and more importantly, the drive. That's what will get you where you want to go." Stella smiled weakly, feeling reassured. "Thanks, Mrs. Collins." "Now, get back out there and show me what you've got," Mrs. Collins said, patting her on the back. "And don't forget to have fun while you do it." With a renewed sense of determination, Stella laced up her skates again. This time, when she stepped onto the ice, she wasn't thinking about the mistakes she had made. She was thinking about her dream and how much she loved the sport. As she glided across the rink, she felt a new rhythm, a new energy. The spin she had been struggling with suddenly clicked, and before she knew it, she was completing it with ease. Stella's eyes lit up, her heart racing with excitement. She had done it. She had finally nailed the move. But the victory didn't stop there. The next day, she worked even harder. The day after that, she pushed herself beyond what she thought were her limits. Each day, Stella grew stronger and more confident in her abilities. Her practice became less about perfection and more about enjoying the journey. A few months later, an opportunity came knocking. Mrs. Collins had heard of a regional skating competition and encouraged Stella to sign up. It would be a big challenge, but Stella knew this was the moment she had been waiting for. With her parents cheering her on from the stands, Stella skated with all her heart. She performed flawlessly, her passion radiating with every jump and glide. A few months later, an opportunity came knocking. Mrs. Collins had heard of a regional skating competition and encouraged Stella to sign up. It would be a big challenge, but Stella knew this was the moment she had been waiting for. With her parents cheering her on from the stands, Stella skated with all her heart. She performed flawlessly, her passion radiating with every jump and glide. Stella's journey had just begun, but she knew one thing for sure. No matter how difficult the road ahead, she would never stop skating. She had the heart of a skater, and that would carry her through. That's the end of the story. Enjoy watching the last bit of the video. Stay tuned for more episodes, and thank you for watching.